So we should be
Hello.
live together with SimzArt for pumpkin spice. Hi everyone. Please confirm that you
Hi.
see us and hear us. Simone, say something
Uh,
so we can hear
Ciao a
you.
tutti. Hello. Hello.
Oh, we have people in the comments ready with their drink for the live. And then, oh, I have a cat that is really curious about this. Say hello.
Oh, so pretty.
Everyone can see us and hear us. Oh, and there's people with a cat in the lab. So that's perfect. That's the perfect
Oh,
companion
that's
for this
nice.
live chat. Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Let's. Oh, troppo. Don't, don't be. Non essere un gatto dispettoso. Su. Okay, I think
Let's say live.
everyone.
Anche il gatto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
I
cat
will
wants to
switch to
participate.
English. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. We sometimes we might switch to Italian without without
Mm-hmm.
realizing it. Cat interference, please
Yeah.
do not adjust your set. No, definitely I won't. No, but now she made herself visible. She
Mm.
got the attention she wanted, and now she's just relaxing on a cushion. So everything's fine.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah. So just a couple of let's say ground rules. We will mostly chat about the art and everything SimzArt related today. We will occasionally answer to questions about the campaign, obviously, and if you have any question about the art direction specifically of Paradise or the future of the illustrations that Sims will produce for Pumpkin Spice. We have already commissioned some. We talked a little bit about it in the live stream yesterday with the authors, and we will definitely talk a lot more about it in the campaign. So today, this evening, we will be more focused on how the collaboration between us, Acron Games, and SimzArt came to be, basically. And also, one could say that SimzArt doesn't need a presentation because he is very well known, but maybe some of you don't know him, and this might be a nice occasion to discover the artist behind the art.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I have spoken a lot, so now I will let you talk, Simone. And
Yeah.
who is SimzArt?
I'm an Italian-based illustrator and comic book artist. And I work mostly on illustrations, and I'm a freelance. So usually I collaborate with brands um, across the industry, really, from video game companies to um, I don't know. Recently, I made a card for Magic the Gathering, so I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, this
yeah.
is a
So
pretty big deal.
a little bit like all across the industry, because I also collaborated with Riot Games or with the Supercell that they make Clash Royale. Um, Currently, I'm working on a comic that it's gonna be published by Dupuis, which is a French-Belgium publisher. And yeah, I work mostly through my social media. I stream on Twitch. My nickname is SimzArt, so if you subscribe.
No, do
No, no,
absolutely do
no,
subscribe
I'm
to
joking, I'm joking.
SimzArt. He's amazing.
But
I love
I
watching
streamed.
watching you
Oh, thank
drawing.
you. Yeah, I streamed for around 10 years. I guess it's almost, I lost, I lost a little bit the count on how long, but yeah, very, very long. So I would say I'm a streamer. I'm a partner streamer, in fact. And yeah, so most of my career has been online. Started online, but it ended up being caught by different brands. So I also ended up working with things outside internet. But most of the like my biggest like the thing I'm most grateful is the community that supported me through my social media, Patreon and whatnot, right? Like that's where everything started, and that allowed me to keep going through the years before, because it's not that I started day one and immediately everything popped off, right? Like, so I must say
Absolutely.
it's been a long journey, right? And we're still getting started because a lot of things are happening, like for example the collaboration with y'all.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that you worked with a lot of media and a lot of different producers and publishers, but never an RPG publisher. We are the first one. That's undeniable.
That's the first time. In fact, like that,
Yeah.
because you mentioned earlier the how did we come up with this project, right? And I mean, you will remember that when you reached me out, I was enthusiastic because it was not the first time that I heard somebody telling me, "Let's do a tabletop RPG." So it was in the air. So when you guys reached me out, it was like, I was like, okay, it's time. Let's do this. Let's do this. It's time to
These
do
are
this.
the right folks to do this
Yeah,
project with.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was
I
like,
have to
okay,
say,
let's do it.
yeah, we clicked off real communal, like there was a communal, how do you say it in English? Communal intent. We felt like
Yeah,
we had a vision together.
yeah.
And I have said it a couple of times, but it's always fun to tell the story of how pumpkin spice came to be. And Simone knows this obviously because this is basically the pitch that we gave him. So Samuel Marolla, the person who actually had the idea for pumpkin spice,
Mm-hmm.
was walking through the streets of New York in the fall season and kept bumping into cafes and bars with this pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice everywhere with everything. And he like the name stuck with him, and he was already thinking about offering something a little bit different than our usual games, our usual gameplay. So something cozy, something that was more soft, more feminine in a way. And he got the idea for this cozy RPG. We started talking about it, uh, on the sides of the publishing house, the game designers and such. But we still need like a kick, something that really brought all these suggestions together. And then someone was looking for the right artist to fit this kind of game, and he stumbled across SimzArt and was like, "This is it. This artist is the perfect match. It's the man."
Mm-hmm.
And so we reached out, and we are happy to say that you were you were awesome, and you decided to work with us. And the idea of
Yeah.
pumpkin spice was it had something for you as well. It had a spark.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. So that's in a very short way, a very long story, very short,
Mm-hmm.
how pumpkin spice came to be. Um, I think it's maybe a bit unusual, but I think it gives pumpkin spice something different, something maybe something that resonated as new in the RPG world, and that's why it's calling so much attention. Also, if you are here and you don't know what we are talking about, pumpkin spice is a current funding campaign that's going on. Uh, that's
I'll
going
make our
on
kit.
BakerKit. Yeah, exactly. I will actually pull the link and share it in the
I'm
comments
drinking
so
tea, by
that.
the way. It's not coffee.
Oh,
I'm getting messages. It's tea, not coffee.
people is
I
checking
should
on
have
your
made a
caffeine
coffee.
intake.
Yeah, they're like some people in my community is disappointed that I'm drinking while being interviewed.
No, 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 no. Simone, you have to say to them that it's mandatory to drink something if you are talking about pumpkin spice. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
cannot, you have to have
No,
your
that
beverage.
the
But
drinks are part of the lore in a way. So
yeah, exactly. As this comment says, it's also great. A hot beverage in a cup is a fantastic to go with these vibes. Of course, absolutely.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I
Word.
see that people. Yeah, yeah. I meant communal. Thank you, Arkstone. The word I was looking for in English is communal. There's people
Mm.
saying that they back this. People giving very sweet words to you, Simone, about your art and
Wow,
how they were drawn by the art to the
thank
project.
you.
So this is really nice. And then we have the question. I see pumpkin spice everywhere, but where are the pumpkins? This is an
Well,
existential question.
on the cover to start with, I would say
Yeah,
it's right on the cover. So we got it. We got that one.
yeah, absolutely. Simone, you talked a bit about who you are today, but I would love to know what made you the artist you are today. So your references, the artists, the media that you consume that made you think, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this, as a job, as my work. And what brought you up artistically? And
Mm.
also, in particular, I have to say this is a question that I have been asked to ask you. In particular, about the ambience, not only the figures, but all that's around the main figures
The
of the image.
backgrounds.
Because you put, the backgrounds, because you really put a fine eye to detail in all your backgrounds. It's never done, just to put something behind the characters. It's always a vibrant part of the illustrations. And we are curious. We'd love to know what inspired you.
It's fun because today I was in the voice chat on Discord, talking with some people from my community, and
Mhm.
they asked me is pretty much the same question, like very similar about like where what inspired me and whatnot. It is kind of hard for me to give an answer because like it's really vague. I would say like
Mhm.
it's a little bit all over the place. I would say like one thing that I came up with that, by the way, I mean, thanks to the question on my Discord, so I have an answer right away right now. I think Disney stuff was one of the first things that I started drawing when I was a
Mm.
child. Like I always drew since I was a kid, right? So Disney art was definitely something that I admired a lot, and I think that's helped me to uh, get towards a style that is a little bit less like that is more, let's say, Western, right? Like so
Yeah.
the expressions of the characters, the mannerism, the fact that the characters can stretch, and they can have
Yeah.
more extreme poses. It's definitely something that is, you know heavily inspired more in the Western art compared to, of course, like Japanese manga and anime that definitely at some point kicked in when I was a teenager. But also, chat has to understand that I'm old. So when I was a kid, in South Italy, uh, manga and anime were not as popular as they are before. Absolutely not.
Oh, no,
So
no, no.
the manga that and like actually the I used to watch anime when I was a kid because in Italy, surprisingly in Italy and not in many other European countries, there's been a Japanese invasion during the 90s. So
Yeah.
a lot of anime from Japan were brought in Italy completely random because like unexpected because like there was nothing nothing like that, but they decide, I don't know who decided that, but like they start showing manga anime, and so like when I was kind of young, I would say like 10 or something, I watched anime like Lady Oscar, that
Oh,
I
the
don't know,
Roso Versailles.
Lady of
The Roso
Versailles,
Versailles.
something like that. I think it's the name. or like I watched Sailor Moon, Sanseiya in TV, right? But I didn't even know the name was Sanseiya because, like, we call in Italy, we call it Cavaliere dello Zodiaco, which is how I know the name. Like, um,
Yeah.
and so like that definitely started forming me. But at some point, like, they kind of cut them off a bit, and there's been a gap between, I would say, the 90 something and the 2000, when then like a new anime TV shows were introduced, and
Yeah.
that's when anime were popular more in all around the globe as well. And in between this time, I started being passionate, like I started liking, Japanese art as well. And so, for example, comic book stores, I started going to comic book stores, and there were not a lot of manga at the time. So like there was more
Mhm.
comics. In fact, I used to read comics like Spider-Man and whatnot, right? And that also formed me a lot because I have plenty of sketches of Spider-Man, Hulk, I don't know, Batman, and what all this stuff. This
Oh,
when
I
I
would be so
started.
curious to see your Spider-Man in your Hulk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to draw Spider-Man, Disney characters.
Mhm.
Until at some point I started reading manga. I think that took me a big chunk of my life. I say I used to because at some point I kind of also stopped. Like I don't watch a lot of anime anymore or read manga. I'm a very very random on what I like. And but anyways, the first manga I remember was Evangelion, the manga version. I
Oh,
didn't even watch the anime at the time. So I didn't even know what Evangelion was. So I bought the seventh volume of Evangelion, right? The seventh, random. I was in a Dal Giornalaio. It was not even in a comic book store. So it was
you
in
said
a
you
newspaper stand,
said
right? Yeah, in a
fantastic. Yeah,
newspaper stand. I got like a
amazing.
seventh volume of Evangelion, and I was like blasted by the backgrounds, right? And the character designs and the
Mm.
precision. So that definitely was one of the first time that I was like, wow, this is crazy, right? And I tried to learn also a little bit these things. Of
So
course, like the majority of my go
basically,
ahead,
we
go ahead.
have to thank Neon Genesis Evangelion for your perfect backgrounds,
I mean, I don't know perfect, but like definitely, I
for
think
your awesome
Sadamoto
background.
is the artist, but that art is beautiful. Those background, I still love mecha design. In fact, a lot. Ironically, people knows me for witches, but that's because it's a project and the IP that I brought for the past few years, right? And I try
Mhm.
to make grow, and my community start liking, and I start growing on social media. So I drew, but like I love mecha design or action stuff a lot.
You don't
In fact,
have to tell this, too loud because our game designers are big, big fans of mecha designs. So,
I love mecha
they.
Gundam Wing. Like I was big fan. I used to draw. I tried to draw the Gundams. Yeah, 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 yeah. I like that stuff. And then like continue that. Of course, I have also, thanks to my parents, we used to travel a lot. My dad is an architect, so we used to travel a lot in churches and stuff across Europe, to visit the
Sure.
abbeys and all that stuff. And that also gave me a lot of, if you look at my art, there's a lot of Gothic architecture or Roman architecture hints. So definitely that formed me a lot. Plus going to museums, my dad was passionate about art. So I also grew up in a passionate about art in general. And so like I like also artists like what you would consider classical artists that also kind of like added to a little bit more a broader vision than just character design, let's say, or like anime girls or anime boys, like usually that is a very common approach nowadays. I talk with a lot of beginners, right? And usually a lot of kids nowadays, they start with anime and usually it's characters. Where instead to me was very kind of like a mishmash of things. And then I learned to draw not even anime. In fact, I don't think somebody that likes anime look at my art and say it's anime 100%. It's very
Uh,
hybrid.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. And then the backgrounds, it's a mix of things. Like I really like again, like mangas background art, but also like I like landscapes or stuff like that, right? And painters, and also decorative art. Like I would say, art that is more decorative rather than, I don't know. I'm thinking of art deco, right, or stuff like that. That also is very interesting. So decoration more than tech. In fact, my backgrounds are not even the perspective in my background, it's random. Like I don't even, like I have a base of course understanding of perspective, but I don't draw perspective, for example, technically correct like in manga happens. Like canonically, they are very precise on perspective. Mine is like slanted, so it goes more towards a more like, I'd say, artsy approach to drawing. And then yeah, like, so, like, long story short, at some point I start putting all the things together, right? And this is how I got to pretty much this style, and which has happened kind of randomly one day, because I was working on another project where there were characters. There were three characters, and I used to draw always these three characters, and the background was always different. So it was these three characters in different environments, and for a while I used to draw couples, random couples, and usually in situations. In fact, I made a lot of commissions back then of couples with the cozy backgrounds, on the couch. People commissioned me on, like, can you draw me and my girlfriend? I don't know, in a garden, and then at some point with that project where you always drew these three guys in different environments, one day I made them witches, and that project ended. So I had to, because like I was working on Webtoon, I was published on Webtoon official, and the project ended. So I was like, okay, I want to switch to a new project. So I completely changed, and I took from the illustration I made of these guys with witch hat, I changed also the style with something a little bit more close to what you see now, like more watercolorish, with more lines, more grungy lines. And here we are, pretty much. That sums up a little bit.
I have to say, Simone, that knowing your exposure as a young kid to also architecture and that kind of design really explains, I think, the attention to the smaller details. I have many
Yeah.
friends who do architecture, and I know that they have that kind of eye when designing. So I think that really is a nice insight in your artistic grow, and from a young artist to the professional you are today. And also, it's really nice, I think, for a lot of viewers that maybe are illustrators themselves, and maybe are wondering how you start, how you go on. You had, let's say, a couple of different lives as an illustrator. So it's a process. It's something that
it was very convoluted, right? Like a lot of things that mixed up together. I would say that also, like, one thing that had a strong impression on me was Kim Jung-gi or Kim Jung-gi. I'm not sure how to pronounce. It's an artist that passed away recently, by the way, that I met. I remember when I was at the start, right? And they made murals, and I met them at a Comic-Con. I was invited there at the time I was a colorist for a comic. And I met them. I was very impressed by the amount of details. And I remember thinking, yeah, this is interesting because, like, it creates a scene that is more like, it's not character focused. It's a lot of things, that added together. I was like, I don't want to focus only on the character. In fact, I try to avoid the pin-up aesthetic, right? Like with the character in the, like, I put it in the middle, but I try to make sure that it's not, the background is part of the illustration. It's not just something that you do to fill the page, pretty much, right? Like, so it tells a story a little bit. And so, like, I added books, potions in case of witches, trying to give a sense of the character is part of a world, and the world tells the story. So you can read more about the story if you look at the environment, because you're like, oh, okay, so there are, for example, they have smartphones sometimes, right? Or laptops. So you can think, okay, they're using a laptop. It means that it's a modern times, right?
Yeah.
So, but there are potions. So it means that, I try to tell a little bit of a story through the background pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's why I draw backgrounds almost always. I say always.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that really called to us and to Samuel the most, honestly. I wanted to check a couple of comments so that maybe we can also answer them. There's people feeling old because you talked about when we were little and you said, "Oh, I am an old person back in my times," and people saying, "If you are old,
Unfortunately.
what am I?" And
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying though that like sometimes I notice that like when I talk to my community, I'm usually the oh, it's lagging. Lag. Chat. Am I still on?
now we try and solve this.
Eh,
Yeah, you are on. Okay, I see you.
ok, stava laggando fortissimo.
Ho visto. Oh, I have been taken by the spirits apparently.
Okay, it's working now though. So you were
Yeah,
saying? Sorry,
I think so.
come again.
No, I was just saying that, it's we are young at heart, so we don't have to worry about our real age.
Yeah. But
That's a problem.
sometimes though the community makes me feel like because I say things and community is like, what are you talking about? Just the other day, we were talking about music, and I mean, another person says, I'm gonna go to a concert of The Cure, the band,
Yeah,
and
The Cure.
yeah, and I was like, yeah, The Cure, and there was people in chat. I was like, who is this people? I was like, are you joking? And I was like, oh my lord, I became my dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it starts to be tough. I was like, do you even know? Like, I don't know. That was crazy. I was like, oh my God. Like, am I old or is this normal? Like I try to stay
Younger
up to date though.
Yeah, most definitely. But on some things, I think it's inevitable. You know some bands, some music from when you were a kid, and it's difficult not to think that they are known by everybody. But yeah, it's tough.
Unfortunate.
It's tough, man. But I have seen a couple of questions that are very interesting. There's one about drawing witches and cats that I think you answered about the fact that witches, are part of a thing that you are developing an ongoing theme.
For the cats, I have a fun story of how they came up with,
yes,
like how I
absolutely,
came up
sure.
with cats. Because like initially it was just witches, right? Like so,
Mhm.
cats are part of the thing. But I decided to make ghost cats because one day I was drawing this character. It was a witch, right? It was on top of some stairs reading a book. So, and I wanted to make magic coming out of the book, right? That was the idea of the illustration. She was
Mhm.
reading a book and something was popping out of the book. So I just finished the illustration. I want to just add, some effects, like, something. So I took a white, just white and the pencil, right? And I made some lines. So I started drawing, like, swirly lines. And then the swirly lines,
Yeah.
at the end, I instead of making them finish like, like that, I made them, I turned them into, the outline of a cat, as if from the
Yes.
book. So at some point though, I deleted the line connecting to the book and there were just this outline of white cats. And then I made multiple, right, on the stairs, on the steps.
Yeah.
And I published. And then from there, I saw the community was like, the reaction was nice. And I was like,
Ah,
normally I like the idea of a mascot in my series. Like, for example, the previous series I was telling you about, those three characters, two were humans, one was a giant kiwi bird. Like, the kiwi bird.
Yes,
Yeah, I made it
there.
big, and that was the concept, right? There was two guys, a girl and a boy, and then there was this giant kiwi bird, and that was the previous idea. With the witches, I didn't have a mascot, right? And again, like I don't like the pin up kind of concept, right? With the girl just imposed with nothing happening. So when I saw the ghost guy, I thought, okay, this can break a little bit the illustration, which is good in my opinion, but because like if you make an illustration that looks very good, let's say, or you spend a lot of time, let's say it looks very detailed, right? You spent a lot of time on it. What happens is that it looks like it's very serious, right? And there's plenty of very beautiful illustrations. Oh, she lagging, boys. Are you back?
I am back.
But oh yeah, you're back.
Yeah, there's
So
people that have been following the. Sorry, please go. Please go. Please go on.
Okay, it was almost finished. So basically, when you draw an illustration too complicated, basically there's plenty of beautiful illustrations out there with the cats drawn like super random on top of the illustration, like with this white line, like they don't even fit sometimes the illustration, right? They seem like added as an afterthought. I thought, okay, this is it's a little bit like a tag. Like when you tag something, right? It doesn't make any sense almost, right? But it makes sense if you think it's about witches and wizardry, right? So I was like, okay, so this fits the genre in a way and breaks a little bit the seriousness of, the render that is clean and detailed, that you add something super, super random, like super goofy, and stands out so much that you're like, why though? Right? A little bit like you could avoid doing that or add just more something that fit better the illustration. The point is that I try as much as I can to make them jump out of the illustration and not blend with it like on purpose. Absolutely. Like they have to look like it's like a comedy relief also a little bit, right? Because everything is serious and then there are these cats random looking at the camera, for example, like just like that. And so I thought this is a good idea. I think this is a good idea.
I think so too. Also, just just to also talk a little bit about pumpkin spice as well. It's really interesting because in your narrative, cats, as you said, are ghost cats and fit a very clear purpose. Whereas in the game in Pumpkin Spice, the cats are just one of multiple spirit animals that you could meet.
Okay.
As unexpected magical events, as creatures that might disrupt a little bit the tranquility of your cafe, or they can be familiars. So again, like for the witches, but they can be, let's say, normal cats that are the familiar of the witches. So in that sense, it's also very curious to see how they can take a different life, in different medias and such.
No, but that was great. Like the whole thing, like you guys like took the illustrations and kind of built up a game on top of it. That is not what I would like. It's a different aspect. Like explores the art in your way, like our writer way. I'm not sure. I think the writer, right? Like the
writers and game designers have been working.
I'm not an expert myself of the making of a tabletop RPG. I want to just disclose this info. I'm not like I just draw, so like that's all I do. Like the game design is not my forte.
I just draw. You do beautiful illustrations, but yeah, and you know what, Simone? We have to turn you into a TTRPG player. Now that's
I would like to. I played in the past. I played Dungeons and Dragons. That's my tabletop experience so far.
You know what?
Like
we have to organize an actual play here on YouTube with you and the authors and do a game session all together. That would be fun.
Sounds good.
I think that would be so much fun.
I'm down.
Yeah, in the comments, they say that your art evokes equal parts Milo Manara and Studio Ghibli style anime. That's
Studio. I mean, I didn't remember everything at once, but yeah, Studio Studio Ghibli style. I mean, 100%, 100%. Miyazaki is, of course, a great inspiration for like backgrounds. I still look at those backgrounds. All right. This is say the point is that when I look at things that I like, I try to not be like, okay, I want to do like them. I'm like, I love what they do. What can I learn from it though? I try my best to not be like okay, I want to do Ghibli style art because like that is Ghibli style, right? Like what I try to do is like, how can I take this and, for example, Ghibli style backgrounds, awesome. Like, all right, awesome. Like that stuff is crazy. But if I would do it the same, for example, I should avoid lines. And I really like the line work on the background, where I spend a lot of hours just on the line work, which is in a way more related to manga, kind of like, that everything is lines. I really like drawing, like the line art part, not the painting part. And so, for example, when I watch Ghibli, I try to find a compromise, like how can I, like, what, for example, for foliage, right? You could draw each foliage, each leaf, right? And I do, in fact, many times. But in Ghibli style, they paint. They use a mix of gouache and watercolors to build up. So it's a painting. I love that, but if I would do the same, I think the energy would change for my drawing. I don't know. I never went full in, or maybe I did in the past. It's not my, like, it seems like it doesn't click with me exactly, but huge inspiration. And I still study. I search for videos of the artists from Ghibli Studio sometimes because I want to see how they do it exactly. And I love what they do. But again, like if I would copy exactly like that process, it would look too much like Ghibli Studio. And for example, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for my thing. But I learned a lot. That stuff is crazy. They're like so good. Also, Akira backgrounds. I watched the special ones on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube, where they showed the making of the Akira backgrounds for the animation. I mean, that stuff is insane. That stuff is,
yeah, it is
crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, masterpiece, absolutely. To get on a silly note, now I need to see a Spider-Man getting coffee at a pumpkin spice witchy coffee shop as well. You have to get back to drawing Spider-Man getting coffee in our witch.
I can draw Spider-Man. I like to believe that I have a pretty good range. I think I could.
No, but
if Marvel is watching, I can do an issue. One issue, I can do it. I can do that.
I like it. I want to support your request to Marvel's, higher ups. If you are watching this, please consider Sims for a Spider-Man issue. No, but
I feel like I could handle it.
Yeah, you could. I think it was related to you telling about your inspirations when you were a child, about Spider-Man.
Yeah. But that was good though. And I mean, if there's any illustrator in chat, like I think Marvel, for example, and DC and whatnot, like I would say since they approach in a more traditional, anatomical, accurate things, I think it's a good way to start to drawing, right? Yeah. Because like it shows a little bit more of the body type. Like in anime, especially nowadays, they're very stylized and clean, right? So it's hard to read exactly the anatomy of the characters because they're more doll-like, right? Where if you read comics or it's way more defined. And for a beginner, I would say for me, it was very beneficial to try to draw Spider-Man because I had to draw, the bicep, the shoulder, and try to understand a little bit. Where if I start from manga, usually you just draw like, a line and the shoulder, like it's more mannequin-like.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's, I agree, actually. I think it's very interesting. And, as you said, when you're a kid, the best way to learn how to draw is copy and trying to redo the things that you love. And then you build up your style and see what's best. then people got crazy about the possibility of a pumpkin spice mecha mix-up, like a Gundam pumpkin spice or something like that. So now
No,
we want
I'm
a
just waiting. I'm just waiting for somebody that gives me a reason to draw mecha design. I'm a god at mecha design. You don't know, but I'm so good at it. I love mecha design. I am very precise. I love
Simone,
mecha.
Simone, don't that's a very, very interesting thing to know. Absolutely, and I absolutely love this pun by Catamongium about the Mocha strike witches. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
love that. I love that.
yeah, I see a lot of people loving on Evangelion, like you said. This
Hmm.
is a very interesting question. How long does a piece of art take you to complete?
Oh, I can tell you very precisely. It takes around 15 hours 25 nowadays.
Oh, well, I mean,
Less sometimes, more than I don't think I ever reached 30. 25 I reached. I think 25 is the max though. Say,
okay.
between 10 maybe and 25, like that's the range. Clip Studio Paint nowadays, I use Clip Studio for
Mhm.
drawing, not an ad, not an ad. I don't get paid for advertising, so not yet. I'm an expert though. I'm a Clip Studio Paint expert, official expert actually. But yeah, no, in Clip Studio now they tell you exactly how much time you spent on a project. So I kind of made an average. Yeah, it's around 10, 25. That it depends on the artwork. Sometimes I can get stuck sometimes and go back, and that definitely adds hours and hours of remaking parts. Or I choose, for example, to draw an entire garden with every single leaf. Like I draw every single one, and then I have to render each one. I mean, that can scale the time up pretty quickly.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Um,
25 is the max though, I think. Like more than
well,
25, it's actually something didn't go well in that illustration.
or you are just putting too much detail into it if you
Yeah.
go over 25 hours. It makes sense. People actually, Simone, you have to know that we have to do pumpkin spice too, and it has to be mecha in space because people is going crazy in the comments. They just want it. So
Like, just give me a reason, guys. Just give me a reason.
we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. um, One of the things that I would love to talk a little bit about, since, as we said, the game of Pumpkin Spice was heavily inspired by your illustrations and your design, I wanted to know if maybe you think that now you can be inspired by the lore of Pumpkin Spice to draw some of your witches, if it's something that,
I mean,
made you curious about it.
I will definitely, because like we were talking before the call, right? Like there's gonna be a lot of art in the book,
Yeah.
so for sure I will have to do already the cover.
But I
I will.
also meant in the like as a illustration by your own, not only the ones that we are going to commission. If
I would say, I mean, most likely, because I'm not smart enough to make a selective choice of what my brain does. So I'm pretty sure that like everything I did in my life, in a way, leaves like a trace. In fact, that's why when I get that cold question, how do you come up with this? How do you come? I don't know. Like sometimes I saw an artist and I just like kind of, I'm like, oh, I like this. Like even modern, like for example, somebody posts something, I'm like, oh, maybe I
yeah,
forget, but then next week I do something in that ballpark because I was really inspired. I think,
like
oh,
in the
this
back
is
of
cool.
your
I
mind.
could do some, yeah. So I'm pretty sure. I would say I never do though the, you know, I see something, I do that. Like you know what I mean? It's never like such a. It's always like kind of like random. But yeah, everything leaves a little bit of. Also, I don't have a good memory, so I wouldn't be able to even if I wanted. It has to be organic.
I love that. Basically, it's your brain that's scrambling together all the information that it
Yeah,
remembers in the and
yeah,
then
yeah,
putting
yeah,
it
yeah.
absolutely. People again going insane in the comments saying like the mechas, but in the alternative universe cafe, like like in the fan fictions, there's the tag alternative universe cafe or coffee
Oh,
shop, where the characters of beloved franchises work in coffee shops together. It's like
I mean,
an actual cafe.
fun fact, I did some drawings like with different energy already. Like I made it a few years back. In like I mean, I can never really delve into new projects as much as I want, because like I'm always like with the people waiting for something, or I have to post for my patrons or whatnot, right? It's not that I'm there like, oh yeah, let's do random stuff, just random that nobody cares. Like, I need to schedule it, and it's not the moment right now. However, every once in a while I do stuff different. For example, I made first of all a small prompt. No, not prompt. What's the word? Prologue comic,
Oh,
four panels comic, with this idea that,
mhm.
for example, it was a knight that wakes up on an alien spaceship, right?
Hmm.
Like not an alien, a spaceship. And then he
Yeah.
gets up and he doesn't know why he's there. And then there is like a space marine girl, kind of like with all suited with gun or something like that, right? That enters the room. And it's like she seems to know. She seems not be startled by the fact that this guy is there, right?
Okay.
But he's like, "What am I doing here?" Right? And that was it's four panels, four panels. So that's all the story I had. But the point is that it
But
was a good excuse to mix fantasy. So the guy
yeah.
with the sword and
Mhm.
ultra high, mecha design. That again, like I try to kind of like always sneak in somehow.
Simone, you know what? Now I want to read this story. I have to know
I
what happens to the knight and
I
the
had
mecha
like
girl.
I posted on Twitter, got like
Yeah.
20,000, like I don't know, I think 20,000 likes or something like that. It went like big. People was like,
Very
everybody was
cool.
excited. But then I mean, I was like, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I don't have time. I don't have time right now because like I should cut. I mean, I cannot work on two projects. I work on one project and I'm already swamped completely. Imagine like two or three. Like I always have some new ideas. It's hard to start though because you need to stop something to start a new thing. It's hard to do like I don't believe in multitasking. Let's keep it at that. I do not believe that multitasking is a real thing. I think they invented that word to pretend that it's possible to do multiple. I mean, I can only do one thing at a time, just one. Like my brain can
But
only do
then,
one thing. Finish a thing and start a new one.
if the results are your illustrations, Simone, I think that that's a good strategy to work with. So keep going like that. Absolutely. Um, people loving on the art direction of the game and your illustrations.
Thank you.
That's really cool. We have space station new location confirmed for the RPG. Not yet, not at the moment. Who knows?
Who
And
knows?
the
Who knows?
coffee shop franchise takes off, literally. I
Yeah,
like
from the
this. I
space.
like
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's infinite things. This is the thing. Like, there's so many good ideas out there, and sometimes I get ideas that I think "Well, this could." But
this.
one thing that people has to understand, and I mean, I think I understood it, not because I'm smarter, just because I'm actually having this problem that,
Yeah.
like, literally, I got hit by a wall by this problem. From the idea to the actually doing something, there is
Mhm.
so much work. So many. I
Mhm.
made I mean, you saw because I mean, you guys got a lot of my illustrations. Do you know how
Yeah.
many years? I mean, you know how many years of
Yeah.
illustration you got, right? Like there. That's like a collection of my past. I don't know what 4 years, 5 years of
Yeah.
illustration. 5 years
I'd say, yeah.
from yeah, that's a lot of time for making at the
Yeah.
moment one game. Like imagine if you can. It's
Imagine.
hard to switch from oh that's a cool idea to oh okay the idea is actually done. I think that's a big difference, and I think that's what there is to celebrate for projects like this, right? That the fact that for me too, right? I'm proud because like you
Mhm.
see a body of work, it's being like reused in a way in a reenacted. I don't know,
Imagine.
re
Remanage. Yeah.
reshare, yeah, scrambled into a project that is finished. Like the campaign is done, so it's going amazing, and like
the campaign is doing amazing, but we still have a week to go.
we still have a week to go. But my point, yeah. No, I'm saying like we did great. Like this is for me like that's like crazy, right? And but like imagine I had this idea 6 years ago, right? Be like, oh, I could do a series.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an enormous amount of work before we sitting here today and doing this. Like, so every time I have an idea, I learn to be okay.
Patient.
Let's put it there. Sit there now. One thing at a time. I can't. Because otherwise you make everything is like half made, right? You never commit fully. It becomes like. I don't like to rush things. So I always try to do one thing as good as I can. Now I'm working on a comic. Took me already 3-4 years. I'm working and it's like 60 something pages, right? Like it takes forever though. Every panel, hours and hours. When I will finish, right? Hopefully I will. I'm doing my best. But when I will finish, and eventually people's like, have you ever thought of making a comic? Bro, that comic took 4 years already. I understand, like, in 4 years, I'll be like, what, 50? I don't know. So I need to really be careful on what projects I start.
Absolutely. But, I think that this one really, as you said, it's a wonderful way to celebrate your work through the years, as well as giving them new life, because obviously the lore and the rules and the game mechanics of Pumpkin Spice give them a new meaning, because they actually...
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. And I want you to know, Simone, that we really are doing history with this campaign. I will put the link again in the comments if you want to check, because actually with the funds we've already collected, which is more than 600,000 euros as of now.
Oh, wait, we passed 600K? I'm not even checking.
We did. We passed the 600,000
We passed
euros.
10K, 600K. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's one of the most successful campaigns on BakerKit, right?
Yeah, it is. It actually is the third most financed campaign in the Italian TTRPG industry ever.
Ever. Let's go.
Now. We'll see what happens.
Hey.
We have 7 days. Hey. We'll see what happens.
I mean, definitely. Starting from the bottom, now we're here, right? Like the philosopher says.
Exactly. And then, it wasn't, we've said this in the latest live chats with the authors as well. It absolutely wasn't something that was expected in any way, this kind of success, because it's also a very different TTRPG than the usual TTRPGs. So we're glad that, the mixing of our expertise and the mixing of our idea and your style and illustrations created this bomb, basically, that exploded in TTRPG.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would expect that. I mean, generally, I participated in many projects and Kickstarters as well. For my art book, for example, that I made a few years back, I made a Kickstarter. It went pretty well. I mean, honestly, it went pretty well. But I mean, I also worked on other projects where there is like, you get, for example, revenues based on, for example, how much. It's hard to tell how well can something go, right? As much as it's always me, for example, right? I have it's always my stuff. So I have a reference point. I'm like, sometimes it goes great. Other times it goes, sometimes it doesn't work at all. So it's hard to tell. But I mean, this was explosive. I think after 48 hours, it was already over 300K or something like that.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it was amazing.
Crazy.
Honestly, I
that's
have a hard time.
Unexpected.
Sometimes I have a hard time wrapping my head around this thing, because it's really going well, and it's honestly, it's amazing. People in the comments saying that they've been really impressed with the RPGs coming out of Italy in recent years. I have to say that we are building a sort of TTRPG Little Italy in the TTRPG world. There's a lot of Italian companies and studios doing very beautiful TTRPGs, not just Acheron games. I don't want to be, too partial, although our
Yeah.
games
No,
are
no, no. Fair
beautiful.
enough. Fair enough.
There's a lot of companies in Italy producing very beautiful TTRPGs on illustration-wise and mechanics-wise as well. So they're beautiful to see and to play with. And
Yeah.
we are doing something interesting, at least, let's say.
It's
Uh,
definitely interesting. And I mean, again, like it means that there is a huge community out there.
yeah,
So, but I mean, you wouldn't know if you don't try, right? Like, how would you know?
exactly. That's true.
Like,
That's
yeah.
true. Absolutely. Then I have two questions, but they are on the sillier side, just to start closing off with some fun.
Yes.
One
Yes.
question is, it was asked on our Discord server actually. What do your witches do
Okay.
that they are always so covered with band-aids?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, first of all, I mean, this is one of those things that I mean I internalize like mentally, right? Like through things I saw. There's a full, I think probably Chat knows better than me. Um, Aesthetic in Japan of
Yeah,
girls that use like
band-aids.
band-aids aesthetically, like sometimes with prints on top of it, right? I don't draw the prints, but that definitely was something interesting that goes in the Lolita type. I don't remember anymore, but that type of stuff full of I'm not sure. I don't have a good memory, but I've seen a lot of things. I kind of, when I see something that's interesting visually, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Another thing that I think is like, yeah, anime like Akira, that they often are, you know, covered
Wounded.
in
Yeah.
scratches and whatnot, right? Like, and warrior, like Berserk. I also read Berserk.
Mhm.
Like that guy is always like full of like covered. That definitely was a big inspiration. And I remember Tank Girl as well. I don't know if
Yes.
you know Tank
Yes.
Girl. Yeah, like
Absolutely.
that was a huge inspiration for that type of aesthetic. And it's a good way, I mean, a cheap way also, we would say, to add a little bit of dimension to the character. Because
Yeah.
like if you had a band-aid, it gives a sense that the character hurt themselves, which is an information that you didn't have before. But
Yeah.
the point is that you have it and information versus no info. So a character blank is just a character blank. Character blank with, like, I don't know, a giant like scar on the, like, or something on the forehead. You're like, wait, why though? It's a small thing, but I think it adds a little bit of dimension, right? It gives a sense of these characters are alive and they live
Mhm.
their life. They get hurt, like everybody, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. People in chat and in the Discord server were suggesting it was because of the cats.
I mean, that's, I heard that a lot. Yeah, for sure. Like it could be everything. I don't, sometimes it's not that I think of every possible. Sometimes I just put, that's the thing in illustration, at least for me. I'm not even formally, I didn't formally study illustration, by the way. I studied at Academy of Fine Art in Italy, but
Mhm.
I'm not like, so a lot of things it's just I came up with. But yeah, in illustration, in my opinion, one important thing is that you leave pointers. It's about
Mhm.
pointers. So you put
Yeah,
a jar, people will imagine that in that jar there's something, right? And what was in that jar? You can give an idea, like if you put like a leaf inside, you're like, okay, so it must be some herbs. Or you put a liquid, it could be something. It depends on the tag on it. In fact, I put tags. Or like you put a
mm,
book, it could be a new book, an old book. These are all pointers. I don't know what's in the book. Like people sometimes ask me, very specific. I don't know what's in the book. I don't know what's in the jar. I don't know everything. I mean, it's just a sense. Since I'm working with witches, I took a look, of course, at witch art and the typical witch art elements, which are potions and whatnot, right? From
of
the
course.
witch culture, I think all around the world, a little bit scrambled because, like, for example, there's some elements that kind of go even in the voodoo sometimes, right? Like, for example, some
Mhm.
art that is more like there's more body fluid type of background. Like,
Mhm.
for example, in some pictures, they are painting. I don't describe precisely what it is and what it is not, because I don't want to be gruesome or anything. And I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't matter. In fact, it could be paint, it could be anything. But the point is that these are all pointers, because like you're like, okay, red painting on the thing, right? It's a typical from the witch history, right? If you read, there's plenty of elements from.
Also,
It's a vast, and a lot of cultures had this concept, maybe called in a different way. But I also have books about wizard, like witches and stuff like that, that I bought, not because I'm a witch myself or something, but to inform, right, to see the symbolism and stuff like that. So you put symbols like books, it could be like
the
potions, it could be
pentagrams
scrolls,
you do under the
the
cauldrons sometimes.
pentagrams, yeah, the magic symbols, tarot decks, stones like rocks, right? Like
Yeah.
crystals. At this point, like a lot of things. You put all these things, or for example, on the fridge, I put post-its. Why? Because I don't know. People put post-its on the fridge, and you assume that that fridge is not. And in fact, a lot of times when people is like the background, like how do you come up with the point is that the background has to tell a story, right? And so you make it. Many times I see people drawing backgrounds very clean, right? But
Mm-mm.
I feel like they're
Mhm.
sterile a little bit. Like, yeah, they don't tell a story. I try to, I mean, if somebody has a very clean house, of course, like if everything is neat, that's okay. But what I'm saying is that if you put some elements, it tells a story that goes
Yeah,
beyond, right?
I understand what you're meaning. They're not clean in the sense they are like in orderly fashion. They are sterile sometimes. It's like there's
Yeah,
nothing in those backgrounds. There's an object,
there's
but there's
nothing. Yes.
no.
So
Yeah,
there's
I
no personality, and all these elements. Yeah, I don't know exactly why I put them, but it's just pointers, because people sees post it, they assume, okay, so this person has to have a daily life where they have to remember things, right?
mm-mm.
And also for symbols, it's a classic, right? Symbols mean nothing universally. They mean something for specific people. If I show the same symbol to two different people that they are from different cultures, maybe they will give the different interpretations.
Yeah.
Of course, I use some symbols that are almost universally recognized, at least I would say from people that has a, like, let's say the wizard hat, like the witch hat,
Yeah.
that the witch
Mhm.
hat, it's, I
Definitely.
mean, I think a pointer that you're like, it's a witch, like there's no doubt that it's a witch if you put a witch hat. That's why I try to also keep it often very clear in the picture, like without
Yeah.
cutting it off or
Mhm.
slanting it too much. Even if sometimes people is like, oh, the brim of the hat, sometimes if
Mhm.
it's near a wall, I've been told
Mhm.
many times, oh, why didn't you fold it? It's because I don't
Mm.
care about folding it. Because if I fold it, visually the triangle and the
Yeah.
brim, it doesn't look
Mhm.
anymore like a hat immediately, and that's a
Yeah.
symbol that I want to keep. Right, it has to be like immediate, and all the things, right, like potions. Potions immediately give a sense of witchcraft. Like
And
everybody that
linguistic.
sees a potion, a cauldron, or something, you
Mm.
immediately see that.
Yeah.
Books give a sense of knowledge, a little bit like mysterious knowledge. Sometimes, if the book is old, or you know,
Mhm.
uh, you usually. So I try to use symbols to give a, an input, and then people fills in with whatever is their knowledge about that.
I think that's very, very interesting, and I think it gives a nice perspective into your illustration, let's say, workflow, and how you
Yeah.
decide what to add into an illustration. Which brings me to what I would say is maybe our last question. Then we'll
Yes.
see a little bit of comments from chat, and then we'll bid each other goodbye because in Italy it's 10 p.m. and so
Yeah.
we must do it so that we can produce stuff for our campaign and SimzArt can draw and illustrate and such. So the last question,
Most
it's a
likely
silly
sleep.
one, most likely sleep. The last question is a silly one, but I want to ask it nevertheless. Why you are doing a lot of witchy stuff? So the hats, the potions, the symbols, but never the broom. there's no broom for your witches. They do not fly on
Sometimes
brooms.
sometimes I put some. I think in some pictures, most likely I put brooms.
Mm.
But I think the main reason it's I don't know why exactly. Like I think the main reason is because one of the main concepts behind this entire project, and
Mhm.
I think it's pretty clear also from your call to actions that you write on social media, is the keyword is cozy. So if you
Yeah.
want somebody to be cozy, usually they don't go anywhere. They're actually lazy, sitting on a chair, sitting on a couch, lying in bed. And usually there you don't put a broom. So sometimes, in fact, I put brooms like in a secondary like place.
Mm.
But for example, if you think of Kiki delivery service, she
Yeah.
goes around, but she's very action hero. Like she's an action hero. She's not like always lazy. She's actually running everywhere,
Yeah.
right? My characters are very stationary because like what I try to give is like that sense it's more oriented to romantic or longing feelings, or like that type of stuff, like and chill, relaxing. um and so yeah, the broom like wouldn't make a lot of sense. Probably
Mm.
that's why I didn't draw brooms. Maybe sometimes they're in the kitchen where you could see a broom, I think, but usually in the kitchen too, they're either cooking something, making a
Yeah.
spell, or just like lazy, like sitting on the counter many times, like they're doing nothing. Like that's the whole point of the series, though, that I want to give it. In fact, that's the reaction that I receive also with the colors. Greens, yellows,
Mm.
that they usually evoke a sense of um memory, right? Yellow,
Mm.
gives a sense of
Mhm.
memory. Green is relaxing. I try to
Mhm.
avoid colors like purple, or like colors blue, right? I tend to work more on warm tones because that's, again, it's symbols, it's pointers, it's like
Yeah, of
tricking the
course.
brain of the viewer to have a feeling. And I receive, in fact, that comment many times that people's like, I watch your illustration, it's like my people say it's like comfort stuff, like it comforts me, right? Like I try to give a sense of comfort. So I think the broom, I could add it, but it wouldn't fit because they're never on the broom. Because on the broom, it's not, I assume it's not comfy, right? It's not comfy to be on a broom.
I mean, honestly, I see that, and most of the times I think, how do they even manage to stand on that thing? It's like, yeah, I
Yeah, it
do
seems
agree
like
with.
a balance issue there.
Yeah, yeah, I would say
Yeah,
all the time I would be like tense like this, like,
yeah.
I'm going to fall. So yeah, I
I
agree.
think that's
It
the
is,
reason.
yeah, but it is curious because it's one of the few symbols of witchcraft that don't come up often in your designs,
Often,
and
yeah, 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 yeah.
this does make perfect sense with
In
your
fact, I
explanation.
worked for Witchbrook, which is a
Mhm.
game.
Yeah, oh
Um,
yeah, I know that.
yeah, it's based on witches. And the developer reached out to me and asked me to make a some character design, but also I made the splash art, right, for
Yeah.
their on their website, right, for Witchbrook. The splash art was, besides the fact that that was one of the biggest illustration, because they asked me like something that they could zoom in, so I had to zoom
Mhm.
back, right, make a lot of things. And also there were like brooms, people on brooms actually. So because that's typical, in fact, like it's of course there are,
Witches on brooms, absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, but well, we have a comment that's really interesting saying brooms are important for whichever to sweep out bad energy.
Oh
This could
really?
be,
That's a new,
yeah.
I didn't know.
I didn't, I
That's
didn't know.
inspiring.
Yeah, that's inspiring. People looking forward to Witchbrook as well. Honestly, same. I am looking forward to Witchbrook as well. So, and people saying this made me think of placing a broom exercise in the background and putting clothes hanging to dry on it. Yeah, perfect. Say hi, to my cat. Hello, cat. Hmm? Can you please let me work? No? Okay. Okay, perfect. Then, this one, I think it's a very nice way to, start and saying goodbye. I love hearing
Mm.
artists' reasoning for doing things certain ways. And I think this live chat we did today, this live interview, really was a very interesting experience and a very interesting way to see a little bit the process behind your art, Simone, which I think it truly is amazing. And
Thank
I
you.
am infinitely grateful that we managed to create this synergy and this work together. And I am grateful to everyone that's supporting the project, that's supporting Pumpkin Spice RPG on BakerKit. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. And I am sure this is the start of something really, really cool. And I cannot wait to see how we together are going to create it in its final version. So, guys,
Thank you. Thank you.
uh, oh, absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for being with us tonight. I'd say this is a very nice place to say goodbye and go to sleep. So, again, thank you so much.
Actually,
Yeah,
thanks.
exactly. And go to sleep. I will post once more for the last time the link to the Baker Kit page so that you can go and check it out if you still haven't done so. And Simone, we will talk definitely a lot in the next days and in the next weeks.
Of
And
course.
to everyone following the live chat, thank you very much for keeping us company and asking very thoughtful questions and for your beautiful puns about mecha witches. And I will
Next
see you
project.
all. Exactly. I will see you all very soon. Bye bye, everyone.
Hey, thanks for having me. Bye.